Hi, this is Vicki McCarty from Calico Patch Designs, and I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the stitches that I'm using on my Highland Heifers. This is block number 2. This is Little Miss Buttercup. So as you can see, I've done most of the stitching, and it's just blanket stitching, and got her all stitched down and got her ready to go. But I want to talk to you a little bit about my what I'm calling my hyacinths. So as you can see, I've used a blanket stitch on the leaves, and I've used a cross stitch on this. And this, on the little hyacinths, I've actually just used a little chain stitch, just a random chain stitch, and filled this purple wool in with just little chain stitches. And since I'm using my variegated thread, I just think it's just beautiful. I just like the effect and how dimensional it looks. But that's just using the number 2216 in my primitive collection. And I like it because the variegated, the colors change so quickly that it gives it the nicer look with all the different shading in it. So we will start out by working on some of our leaves. So I'm using my color 2154, and we'll go ahead and pull some of the thread off the spool for that. Again, this is one of the colors in my from Wonderfield from my primitive collection. This is color 2254. I always have a lanyard on when I'm stitching. It has my little serrated Karen K. Buckley scissors with a little curved edge. I like those because it lets me cut out around things and clip my threads without cutting into my flannels or wools. I add my little needle threader on here, and all I do is slide it into the eye of the needle. Then I lay the thread across the little hook and hold on to the bottom of the needle, and I pull it through, and my needle is threaded. So, and I only stitch with one thread at a time. And I'm really guilty of using too long of a thread tail. I'll tell you that too. I use a little quilter's knot. So I use the thread tail between my thumb and forefinger. I place it between my thumb and forefinger, the eye of the needle in the same spot. Take the same thread tail, wrap it 3 times, pull it down under my fingernail, and pull. And there is my, should have been, there we go, a pretty knot, not an ugly little knot. So there's my little knot. So I will start out by going to the back of this, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do my blanket stitch here. Now I do always, do my hand stitching with a little pillow in my lap, so that it pulls my stitching up to me rather than me all slouching over to get down to my lap to stitch. So I do use a pillow in my lap. Okay, so I go to the bottom, bring my needle up on the outside of my applique. Okay, and I've got, made my knot too small. I'm going to cut that off and try it again. I know you all have never had that happen. So there's my tail and thread tail and my needle. And let's see if I can't make this one a little better. That one's a little bigger. Now let's try it all over again. All right, so I'm going to bring my needle up, thread up there. Now I place it under my thumb, and I'll take the little bite into the wool and come out in the edge. And there's one stitch. I place it back under my thumb and take my little bite. And again, like I said, I've made my thread a little long for what I'm working with on the camera. Usually I don't have any trouble. I just pull it really far out. But I forgot I'm on camera. I don't like to run out of thread a lot. I like to be able to sew for a long time. Sorry. For camera purposes, here, let me just do this. For camera purposes, I probably could have been a lot shorter thread. There we go. Now we'll be able to fix it. Okay. I forget what I'm doing sometimes. Now that'll be better for the camera. Okay. Now you can see it a little better. All right, so taking my bite inside the wool, trying to take the same stitch each time. There you go. Am I in your way, Tom?
A little bit.
A little bit? Okay. Okay, good.
I was going to ask, where do you get those scissors and lanyards?
Oh, I'm sorry. The lanyard comes with the needle threader. I think it's like $5 on my website. It's at calicopatchdesigns.com. And the little pair of scissors also come. You can get those on my website also. So then I'm going to stitch all the way up to this little point, and I'll show you how I do my points. Start out taking a little bigger bite than I normally do on such a little piece of little leaf. Okay, so right here's the end of this. So I'm going to do a 3-point turn here. I'm going to go down in the same hole I was in, come out at the tip, right there. It's hard to see the tip, but at the tip of that leaf, I'm going to push with my thimble. Oops, I'm going to pull it out straight up at the tip of that leaf. And you can see it came right up at the tip. Now I'm going to go in here and take a little tiny whip stitch to hold that thread at the tip of that leaf so that it will stay right at the tip. So I have this one going in the same hole, that one going in the same hole. I'm going to turn my little Highland cow around. I'm going to go in the same hole and come out with a little bite over on the outside here. And so that gives me my little 3-point turn, my little 3-point corner. Now, I'll just angle it right up here and just go right on. Now, what you can't tell is I do wear a thimble, and you can't tell that I am actually using it to push this needle right here underneath. It goes on your middle finger, and when I push, I have my fingers here, and my actual finger is pushing the needle underneath. Now, what that allows me to do is be a lot faster and a lot quicker with my stitching. Something my little Mama Nellie taught me. It's my grandmother when I was stitching with her when I was a little girl. She said, if you would wear a thimble, you would be a whole lot faster. You could stitch a lot faster if you'd wear a thimble. And she was so right. So if you're not used to wearing a thimble, please get one and try it. My little thimbles are very inexpensive thimbles. They're made by the Deal Button Company. Deal, I mean, I'm talking D-I-L-L. There are, oh gosh, what's this made out of, Tom? I can't remember what it's called.
Kind of like rubber.
Well, yeah, but it's got a name for it. But anyway, they're very flexible, so they'll mold to fit whatever your size your finger is. You can have nails and they'll still fit, but you have to get them really, this is a small, but see how my finger shrinks under it, but it's got to be so that if I do this, it doesn't come off. So I love my Deal button, or my Deal thimbles, and what it is I will, I wear these so that I can be a lot faster. Mama Nellie said, even if you're sewing on a button, she said, you put that little thimble on, she said, and you'll be a lot faster at it. And she's right. You can load your needle up across if you're piecing, because we used to piece everything by hand. So anyway, I do know, and I always say I know this from a friend because it surely couldn't have been me that did this. I do know that they wash really well in the washer, because for some reason they end up in my pocket. I always say this is from a friend. But and I do know they dry well in the dryer too, because for some reason my friend keeps finding them in the dryer. So they do up real well. All right, there's my little 3-point corner again. And then to make it look like that you can't tell where I started and stopped, to keep that little edge going with a little thread going all the way around, I will come back where I started and go back in front of that first stitch I took, and I will, well, I can't get my fingers under there, pull it through on it, and then you can't tell where I stopped and started. So that's how I do my blanket stitch. Now I will flip this over, and this is how I tie my knot. I take just a tiny little bite, I do a little French knot, and I pull it through. I've got my little needle, or my little scissors here, and I cut it off. And there is how I do my little blanket stitch around my leaf.